Hey everybody, it's Maddie from Mostly Maddie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be setting up the reading journal portion of my Hobonichi weeks for 2026. I'm going to try my best to keep it very simple and easy to follow for this kind of tutorial. If you are interested in setting up a Hobonichi weeks in the back of yours like I have in mine, then you're in the right place. This is the right video for you. I hope that I can make this nice and easy for you. I have measurements, guidelines in terms of, how many squares you're going to need for every page, suggestions, tips, all that good stuff. So if you're interested in that, then you're in the right place and stick around. Okay, so for some context for anybody who doesn't know, this is the Hobonichi Weeks and it is a planner, and I use the back pages to set up my reading journal for the year. So it is a weekly planner, and in the back there are 70 blank pages. There is a version of this planner that it's called the Mega, and you get more than 70 pages in the back. I think it's like 300. It's a pretty significant difference. I have found that the 70 is plenty for me, but if you want to use yours for maybe more than a reading journal, you also want to do journaling, any sort of note taking or really anything else, I would suggest sizing up for the Mega. But if you just want to use this as a place for your reading journal, then 70 pages should be sufficient for you. This is what my 2025 looks like. I just want to do a quick flip through so you can kind of see what it looks like if this is something that you want to try to replicate for the upcoming year. So this is the notes page, and this for 2026, I'm actually going to decorate this a little bit more, make it a little more fun. I feel like every year I'm in this planner, I tend to kind of elevate my game the following year. Once I've, been in it and I kind of feel comfortable, I start to do more things that I probably wouldn't have done before. Going right into it, I write out my physical TBR. So that is all of the books that I own that I want to read. Obviously, if I own them, I want to read them. So they're my to be read books. And one mistake I made for this is that I did not give myself enough space. So you'll see in 2026, I add an additional page for this because I buy books through the year. Not a lot, but every once in a while. And since I haven't checked too many off for this year, I know I'm going to need more space just in case. I would rather have, extra space and have there be a little blank than run out of space here. Then next I have my goal tracker, and I did 75 books for this year. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do you know and decide how many books and how do you figure out how many pages to leave? I will talk through all of that in terms of how much space I need. However, in terms of a reading goal, that is really personal, and I have always based mine off of the previous year. So if I can hit my goal of 75 for this year, then that feels like a good goal. I might bump it up to 80. However, if I was doing this and say I hadn't hit 75, then I would probably lower it, just because, again, for me, it's not a big deal if I don't actually reach the reading goal. It's just fun to track it. It's another, every time I read 5 books, I get to color in a square, just little things to motivate me to, read more. So that is how I've always based mine. So if you know typically how many books you read, then I would base your reading goal off of that. And the thing is, if you're like, oh, well, I only read, 20 books, then these squares could be different. You could go by 2s or by 3s, whatever it is, so that if you wanted to fill up this whole page with squares, you could do that. So that's just something that you would have to figure out depending on how many books are in your reading goal. Next up, we have the library log. So I read a lot through my local library, and I also use Libby. That's where I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Almost exclusively all of the books I've listened to have been through the Libby app. I did get a Libro FM membership this year, so that has been added into the mix. But what I like to do is go onto Amazon and find the price of every book that I read through the library and then add it in here. So at the end of the year, I will put the total of how much I saved via the library. It's just a fun way to track. I know a lot of libraries actually put that on the receipts, like when you check out the books. Mine doesn't do that, so this is just my way of keeping track and seeing how much I save. These are 2 pages that I'm not going to be carrying into the next year with me. It just didn't really, I don't know why. We moved to a new city, so I thought I would just like be more interested in tracking this, but it's just not something I necessarily care about. And as far as the ARC tracker goes, I have so many more than this, and it started to get overwhelming. So I didn't like having this here. And obviously you can see I stopped using the tracker in April. So those will not be coming with me into 2026. This is what most people have seen or what they know me from. This is a format that I kind of like created, I guess, back in 2023. And I just thought it was a really cool visual way to showcase all the books you've read. Again, because I do read so much through the library, this is like kind of a way to have your own bookcase or bookshelf of all of the books you read throughout the year. Since a lot of these, I've also like, I never saw a lot of these covers because I read a ton on my Kindle. And so it was just cool. It's just a cool visual. A lot of people are like, why do you do that? What's the point? Like, it's just fun and it's cool. And I love the way it looks. And every year I get to go back and flip through and see all the different books that I read. It's just a really cool way of keeping track of what I'm reading. Now, in terms of what I keep track of, I put the format in which I read the book, and then I put the star rating. Now, the first year I did this, I only did the books. I didn't even put star ratings. I literally just put the pictures of the books. And then last year I added the star rating. And then this year I added the format in which I read the book. And this is what's going to carry into 2026. I'm going to keep it the same way. I like this format. I think it works really well. There's two more things that I keep track of. In the back here, at the end of every month, I pull my stats from Storygraph, which is it's an app where you can, just track all of your reading, kind of like a Goodreads, but they have really good stats, and they make this graph at the end of every month that you can use. And so I just take that graph and I just write it in here. So I did one for every month, and I actually did not leave myself enough space. So I don't have room for December's, but that is a lesson learned and something I'm carrying into 2026 so that I don't make that mistake again. Because you can see here, October, November, and then we go into the next thing. So I don't have space. I think what happened was I meant to put January here, and I don't know. I think I had the Post-it note over here, so I thought that was where I was supposed to start, and I just didn't think about it. But now I know for 2026, so that mistake hopefully won't happen again. Then the last part, which I have fallen off of doing this, but all the books I was reading on Kindle, I was going through at the end when I finished reading and writing down all of the things that I had highlighted from the book. And I don't know, I just kind of got busy and kind of just stopped doing this. So I still have plenty of pages if I, had wanted to continue doing that, but I just didn't. It's one of those things like I just lost interest. Another thing I did in here was in the monthlies, I was tracking how long every book took me to read. Now, I don't think I'm going to be carrying this into 2026. I'm not positive yet, but I don't know. Like, it's fine. It looks okay. I just don't know if there was like a whole lot of value. I don't know. It just like, it's fine. I just don't know if it's really that necessary. I also read, like, look at this month. This is just so chaotic. I just don't know if it's even like worth doing that. So I will figure out what I'm going to do. I think all of my reading stuff is only going to be in the back, and then I'm going to use the calendar view for something totally separate. With all that said, let's open up the 2026 and get started. I'm going to move the camera down just a little bit so the microphone is closer to me and I don't have to be like standing up, because then I get out of breath and I feel like you can really hear it on the video. So, okay, I have a few stickers on my cover, and the nice thing about this material is it's really easy to peel stickers off. So if I want to change these at any point, I can. I know some people will also put like washi tape underneath so you can easily peel it, but honestly the fabric cover, it's really, I already took off, I had a bow here and I already took it off. So these are just a couple of stickers that I have on the cover, and then I have this one on the back from my friend Amy at Happy Olive Studio. I wish I could tell you where these stickers were from. I got this at some shop in Cincinnati, and I believe I got this off of redbubble.com. So if you typed this in, like this saying, into Redbubble, you might be able to find this, because I'm pretty positive that's where this one is from. The ghost sticker is from Amy at Happy Olive Studio, and I do not know where the Booktrovert sticker is from. I am very sorry. And I like to set up this page and just do like a big sticker dump. I just haven't done it yet. I just slid this one into here in this pocket, and this says, I love the library, and this is from Serica Studio. The tabs here are from the Coffee Monster Co. I did the colorful pastels, and I will add, I have in here, like I just have this plain tab, and I got these off of Amazon, just like a multi-pack of tabs. So I have more of them. I just need to find them in my drawer, and I'll just add one of those so that I can easily flip to the notes section. Any tabs will do, or no tabs if you don't like tabs. I know a lot of people don't like having that like extra stuff hanging off. Okay, so my first piece of advice is, if you're setting this up, do yourself a favor and grab some Post-it notes and stick down what you plan to do with every single page. That will save you a lot of heartbreak and it will keep you organized, because for me, like this, setting this up has happened over the course of a few days. And so the Post-it notes help me remember where things were going to be. I've like written notes to myself, and it's just like, I made mistakes because I didn't put Post-it notes in, and I thought a page was either not meant to be used, or like, so this year I actually put a Post-it for every single month for those Storygraph stats, because I had made that mistake last year. So I'm like, well, this year I'm just going to use a Post-it note on every page so that I know I have enough pages, and I can just leave these in here until I get to that month, and then I can pull the Post-it out and do my stuff. I do want to set up this page, but I know some people probably are just here to get like the nitty gritty, the tutorial on like how to set up the pages. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll come back to that. So if you want to stay around for that, you can. So in terms of the goal trackers, this is how I have mine set up. Like I had mentioned previously, for one, if you have less books you're reading, you could cut out the bottom row. You could decorate this with washi. There's a lot of ways. You can make your squares bigger. If you wanted to follow the way that I had mine set up in my 2025, because that is what I'm going off of, so it looks just like this, here is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to get a pencil, and I just put little notes on where each square was going to be. So for this, and here's the other thing I want to say before we continue on, you do not need the Hobonichi Weeks to do this. You could use Traveler's Notebook is a very similar size. It's a scooch bigger, but if you like, this size and this format, Traveler's Notebook is going to be the next comparable thing, and it is cheaper. You could also get some sort of Traveler's Notebook sized notebook. Like there are so many brands that make TN size notebooks. There's a lot of small businesses that make something similar, so you could go and get that. And the other thing is Hobonichi makes a Hobonichi Weeks memo. So that is the same size as this, but they're memos. So they're basically like what a Traveler's Notebook insert is. They're like smaller. I don't know how many pages they have, but I would guess like maybe 30, and they're way cheaper. I'm pretty sure they're like $6 or $7. So I'm sure if you looked online, like maybe Atlas Stationers or any other like retailer that carries Hobonichi, check to see if they have the Hobonichi Weeks memo, because that's meant to be like a supplement for people that have the weeks. But if you just wanted to do the reading journal, you could literally just buy the memo and use that. And I think that would suffice. So just a little tidbit there, so you don't have to spend, $40 on a planner if you don't plan on actually using the planner. Back to the measurements. To go 1, 2, 3 squares in and make your mark. Okay. You're going to go 1, 2, 3. It's 4 squares across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 squares down. I'll put this on the screen too. 4 squares across and 5 squares down. And then you're going to leave 2 spaces, and then you're going to repeat. 2 spaces, repeat. And then when you go down to the next row, you need to leave 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to leave 4 squares in between, and then repeat the same thing until you get to the bottom. So you'll have a little space down here. You have a few squares on the side and a few squares over here. Again, I will put this on the screen and I will also put in the description. So if you just want to look at that instead of like watching this whole video, I understand, because I can be impatient too, and I get it. And then what I will do is I'll just, I'll take my black marker and end up drawing all these squares, writing in the numbers, and then I just pick a color to use for the year to fill it in throughout the year. What pens and markers I use in the Hobonichi weeks, you can really use anything. For any of my headers, I like to either use this Pentel Touch, or the Tombow Furunosuke. This is a soft tip. So these will give you the same kind of result when you write. They're a soft tip. If you prefer a harder tip, the Tombow also makes a hard tip version, and it will be a navy color. So it'll look like this. I don't know why that's not focusing, but again, I'll put everything in the description. So when I'm writing these at the top, that is the type of marker that I use. When it comes to the lines, what I have used in the past is those Micron. Let me see if I can find one. This is what I've used in the past, is a Micron marker. Now, it just depends like on your thickness preference. All the tips, are different sizes. So pick one that you like for your lines. I think for this year, I will probably do a Micron again, or another good one is Tombow Mono drawing pen. Again, same kind of thing. It just depends on what thickness you like, but these both work really well. As far as writing, when I'm actually writing everything out, I really love the Energel Klenas for the Hobonichi weeks. Other one I've used is the Rytech Switch. So it looks like that. And the Rytech Needlepoint, which is really similar to the Energel Klena in terms of what the tip of the pen looks like. So these are all, I really like these because you can do really fine writing with that sort of a really skinny tip. Writing on the small grids is really easy with these, and I don't have to worry about going outside of the lines. Those are what I use. I also love, and I don't think I have it up here because I was using it downstairs. Oh wait, here I have this. This one doesn't have any ink in it, but it's the same pen, the Uniball 1, and I use the 0.38. So those are all my favorites. As far as the Energel Klena goes, I have the 0.3 and the 0.4 and the 0.5. I personally think the 0.4 is my favorite for writing in here. And the Rytechs are also 0.5. So again, personal preference on what kind of size you like your ink, like however you like that to look. That is going to be a personal preference. Another pen I always enjoy writing with in here is the Muji, and I have the 0.38 and I have the 0.5. I think I like the 0.38 better. It depends on how easy it is for you to write small, just all of those things. But I think the needlepoint style pen is the best, just because I can really make sure I stay within the grids when I'm writing stuff. Then next, we're going into my physical TBR. So you'll see I switched these. Last year, they were switched, but because I want to have another page for my physical TBR, I just moved these. So then the next page, I have a continued list for the physical TBR. And then we move into my library log, and library log continued. Now, I had mentioned I'm not doing that ARC page that I had in 2025. However, I am just writing my ARC TBR. So I'm just going to write down all of the books that have been given to me. And ARC is advanced reader copy. So it's books that the publishers give to you before it's actually published to the general public. And so I just want to keep a running list. I eventually want to get through all of them. I'm pretty backed up right now in terms of I need to play catch up, but I think it'll just be nice to have them all listed somewhere. This is another new page that I'm going to include this year, and this is my books that I did not finish. I think I'm going to make it, I love seeing people do graveyards, a cemetery of all the books they didn't finish. So I think that's what I'm going to do on this page. And it's just going to be these two spreads. I have learned the power of not finishing a book when I'm not enjoying it. I like to call it a soft DNF because I'm never, unless I'm truly like appalled by a book, there's a chance eventually someday I will come and pick it back up. But I'm a mood reader. And so if I'm not in the mood for that book, I'm like, no, immediately no. And I think it would be nice to actually track what those books are in case I ever do want to revisit them. The only record I have is if I were to go into my Libby and like look at all the books that I've checked out previously that I never finished. So this way I just have a physical copy of all of the books that I have not finished that I started. And then we're going into all of the stats for Storygraph. So like I had mentioned, I have one for every month, a post-it note for every month. I'm just going to leave these in here until that month comes around. And then we get to the 2026 reads. If you do this exactly the way I do it, there is room for 9 books per page. So if you're trying to figure out how many pages you need to plan out in here, you just have to do a little bit of math. So if there's 9 books per page, that's 18 books per spread. So if your goal is 75, like mine, I think it's 9 pages. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I always keep a couple extra just in case. You never know. I don't want to not have room. I would hate to like run out of space. So I always go way crazy extra. Like there's no way I'm going to fill these pages out. But for me, it's like a comfort of knowing that I won't run out of space. So I think this is book 70 maybe. So yeah, technically this would have been my last page, but I I'm giving myself those extra pages, and I just put the washi so that I knew that's what that was for. I use the Canon IV. It allows you to print 4 photos at a time. There is an app for this printer, and you go to the collage part of the app. I'll see if I can put this on the screen so you can visually see what I'm talking about. You click on the 4 photo. I go on to Safari web browser and I type in Goodreads and I find each book and I save the book cover from Goodreads. You cannot save the book cover from the Goodreads app. You would have to screenshot it and then crop your photo down. So if you want to not do all of that, just go to the web browser and save them directly from there. You just push, and I have a tutorial. I have lots of tutorials on how to do all of that. You do not need this printer. I love this because it's portable, it's easy, and for me, I love knowing when I finish 4 books, I get to use this and I get to print my pictures. It is zinc paper, so that means the color quality is not going to be what you would get if you had a printer with cartridge. It doesn't matter what zinc printer you use. If you use the HP Sprocket, if you use the Canon IV, I know there's a few others out there. The color quality is not going to be perfect because it is zinc paper. You can only get so good with zinc paper. So please, if you care about the color quality, find a different printer. I have the Canon Selfie that sits under my desk and I love that. However, then I would have had to create a template. It would be more than 4 books, so then I would have to wait longer before updating my journal. And for me, I like to do every 4. That is a completely personal preference, so do whatever is going to work for you. I love the convenience of this. I don't care that the quality is not 100% great. People always ask me, how does yours turn out so good? Mine look dark. I'm telling you, like, that is supposed to be white, and that is not white. Like, look at, you know what I mean? Like, it isn't great. It's not great quality, but it does the job, and it doesn't bother me that much. So if that is going to bother you, find a different printer. Don't get a zinc printer. Find a different printer. I know I sound like a broken record, but that is one of the most common comments that I get on any time I post about my reading journal is about the color quality. I don't touch my settings. I don't adjust. Once I save the book cover, I literally print it. I don't do anything with my settings because I don't want it to be extra. I don't want there to be extra work. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible for myself so that I actually keep up with it. If I overcomplicate it, it's not going to work for me. So that being said, if you are not going to use the Canon IV or a similar printer like the Sprocket, the printer paper is 2x3 and it prints 4 photos. So you can make your own template and make these sizes into a template like on Canva and then you could, print them on whatever printer you have. So we've got, this is 1 inch and 1/2 inch. So it is 1 inch by 1/2 inch. And that is going to get you the size you need to make one of these little squares to fit in here. If you wanted to use a different size, go for it. But that's what we're doing in here. That's what I use for mine. And what I do is I draw these little marks just so I know where to put things. And you, on this one, do not leave any extra grids. You use the very first one, and it is going to be 7 squares across and 11 squares down. There is no space in between. You literally go to the next grid and you start, same thing. And then you repeat the process. I usually only do it on the first line because then obviously there's going to be pictures here, so I'll know exactly where to put the ones below it. So that's what I do in mine. I have counted all of my pages and then a couple extra, like I had mentioned, and I put a post-it note of where the last page of my 2026 reads is going to be. And then I move into books, quotes, and highlights, which again, I don't know if I'm going to do this year, but it's just there just in case, because I still have, let's see, we're on page 35 of the weeks, and like I said, there's 70 pages. So I've got about 35 pages left in here, and I don't know what I'll do, if anything. I don't mind if there's some blank pages in here. I'm not somebody who feels like I have to fill up every single page. So yeah, that is the bulk of this planner. Now, I think for the rest of this video, I am going to set it up, and maybe I'll just put some music on and set up the rest of this journal. You can kind of see it come to life. If you are interested in sticking around or grabbing your, Hobonichi weeks or whatever you're using and set up with me, then awesome. Thanks for being here. And I might, chime in every once in a while. And I will say for the washi tape that I used for 2025, this is called Girl of All Work. That is the brand. And then the name of the washi tape is Cozy Library. So if you type this into a search bar, Girl of All Work, Cozy Library, this should pop up. And I believe I got mine off of jetpens.com. So it should be available there for you if you like this washi in particular. I'm using a different washi, I believe, for this new year. I might actually change it and do like every other. Like I might do one full spread with this and then switch it up, because I have a few bookish washi tapes and I would love to use more than one. So we'll see. I kind of like it looking uniform, but then it's also fun to switch it up. So for, I think I wrote it down somewhere. Hang on. Yes. Okay. For this year, this will be the washi tape I'm using. Let me see if I can pull it out here. Can I find it? Yeah. Okay. So here is the washi that I'm using for this year. It's very cute. It's got cats. And let me see if I can get this into focus. All right, and this is really cute washi, so I'm super excited to use this. I found this person on Etsy. She's based in the UK, so I did have to pay an arm and a leg for shipping to the US. I bought quite a few other things from her shop to not feel as bad about how much I spent on shipping. So this is Sarah Francis, and she's on Etsy, Sarah Francis Art. And this is what I will be using. Like I'd mentioned, the Girl of All Work, you can get that off JetPens and not, spend a ton of money on shipping like I did, but I just really thought this was nice. I also have another one here, and it's very similar. Let me see if I can, this one is from, I think it's Emily Cromwell Designs. She has a lot of like bookish, stationery, like stickers, washi tape, a lot of stuff. And again, this one has books and cats and planters, and this is Emily Cromwell. If that's not correct, I will put it up on the screen, and I again will put everything in the description if you want to find any of the stuff that I'm using. you know, shop small if you can. That's all for now. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to get started on getting this all like decorated and set up. And for the, so I didn't love, let's flip here. I didn't love that I kept this over here. I don't know. It's like, it's fine, whatever. But this year I'm like, I'm going to decorate this. So I actually have these sheets of these sticker sheets from Box of Knots, and they're peel and stick. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put one over here, and then I'm going to add stickers like onto this one. And so then it like looks cute, and it's not just like this random useful abbreviations that are not useful to me because I'm not going to be using them. So I think that's my plan. So I'm going to start cutting that up and get everything in here and start setting this up. I might speed the video up a little bit. We'll see. I don't know what post editing. I don't know what editing Maddie is going to be in the mood for. So this may or may not be sped up a little bit. So if you want to stick around and watch me get it all set up, then that's what we're doing now. So if you got all the information you needed for the tutorial and you're leaving, bye. Thanks for being here. If this was helpful, please leave a comment. Let me know. Make sure you're subscribed, all that stuff. And now we're going to go and get everything set up. Of every letter. So we need B, O, O, K, J, O, U, R, N, A, L. Okay, we have enough. So we're going to use that. Now, I think my plan was to put stickers on this side. So maybe I'll do the stickers and I'll just write, I guess I could do Maddie too. Maddie's book journal. All right, we're going to try Maddie's book journal. I think we want about this much space. So I'll do Maddie book journal. Okay. I'm just going to pencil just so it's kind of even because I'm not very good at this stuff. So we're just going to eyeball. I think these are easy, like pretty easy to pull off too if I need to. So we go Maddie's. I'm going to do, like I'm going to add some stickers like I did in this previous year. So this is my sticker release book. And what that means is all my vinyl stickers that I've purchased, I've peeled off the backs and I have put them in here. So you can easily do that. They come right off and then you can stick them back on. Love it so much. And now I have to figure out what stickers I'm going to use. Okay, if you're still here, thanks for sticking around. We are all set up for now. This is the intro page. Like I mentioned, I will add a tab in here. I got my goal tracker set up. The physical TBR, I will be pulling from here. However, just in case I read anything else this year, I'm going to wait to fill this one until January, just to be safe. I added some washi to both of these pages. I actually think I might add some here too, just for some continuity. Okay, so we've got physical TBR, our library log, which I will add, you know, author, title, author, and then the price eventually, but I don't need to do that now. And that just continues. My do not finish. I might add like some skull washi or something funny, but I have to figure out what I have in my stash. These I don't mess with because these are just where stats go, so I'm just leaving these post-it notes in here for now. And then we have our 2026 reads, and I already did the lines. I put in all the washi tape, and I did that for all of the pages that I had marked. And I did stick with the same washi throughout because I kind of just like having the continuity. And then this is the last page. Then we go into highlights. So that's the end because I don't have anything else in here right now. So we are all set up and ready to go. If you stuck around, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, or if you were just wanting someone to hang out with while you set up your journal or whatever it is you were doing with your day. Thank you as always for being here. I appreciate you all so much, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.